And now, Hardcore Wrestling presents In the News with Bay Area MVP.
All right. Happy Saturday, folks. We are back at HWR for In the News. This is the MVP of the day, Will, right here. We got another good one for you, so let's introduce the Hardcore crew for Saturday's edition of In the News. First, he's the boss of HWR. When he's not stealing pizzas or playing whack-a-mole, he can find us on the Facebook page. He's the boss, Rick. And Rick, I hope you paid for that pizza.
Oh, why would I pay for pizza when I can just have somebody else pay for it and I can just take theirs? Shit.
You're supposed to set an example.
Fuck examples.
Okay. That was a good. And from YouTube.com, he is the incomparable one, Lance Moss. Go check him out on the YouTube page. Lance, how we doing?
Well, I have a word from our sponsor. Did your team just blow the World Series? Try new. Fuck it all.
1,000 milligrams. Yes, folks, Fuck It All is the new sponsor for Hardcore Wrestling Radio. Thanks to the son of a bitch, Andy, wherever Andy is. And today, we got some articles, so kick back, relax. Our first article, gentlemen, is of Ryback's return as a babyface. We all know he came back on Raw and gave Bo Dallas a squash of an ass whooping. And what happened on SmackDown? A little bit of the same. Poor Heath Slater. But there's more to the story. Because now that Ryback is a face and we have not seen Curtis Axel, his former Ryback's tag team partner, WWE is maybe going to call on some roster cuts. So with Ryback back as a face, who do you think is going to get cut? And when will this happen? Boss, we'll go to you first.
Well, I've always called Curtis Axel the fluke, so, if he's gone from the WWE, I can't say I'm going to miss him because let's be realistic, this has been his remake from, I can't even pronounce his real last name, so if they get rid of him, he wasn't nothing special to him, so I say, yeah, you know what, cut him.
Lance?
Well, I think it's time for the one-man band to get future endeavored.
Well, in my opinion, WWE reported that they had a low amount of faces, and they had too many heels. So, is this the case? We won't know. And speaking of Curtis Axel, gentlemen, that is our next topic. Where has Curtis Axel been? As the boss doesn't really care, but I'm going to read this anyway. Curtis Axel, he worked a dark match at the main event SmackDown taping, and guess who he lost to, folks? Kofi Kingston. Is this a shock? And there's been possible list of cuts that are coming around. There's been some names thrown around as him, Zack Ryder, Fandango, maybe others. So, Lance, I'll go to you first. Is Curtis Axel, or who do you think is going to be futurely endeavored when these cuts come around, as reported?
Probably Fandango.
And why do you think he's going to be futurely endeavored? Give us a little explanation.
One, his gimmick sucks. And two, who the hell wants to see Fandango on TV?
Maybe not Rick, but we'll go to him next.
Well, you know what? Honestly, all these guys, they do have a purpose. It's called the Job Squad. And, if the WWE really wanted to use these guys properly, and I think we talked about it on our other show, Hardcore Wrestling Radio, on the Wednesday show, it would be have these guys go up against the higher-end guys on the weekly basis to keep the storylines and stretch out those storylines. So that way we're not seeing, guys, we're not seeing everybody else, all the other guys go against each other 4 or 5 times in a row. We see like Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, which of course we're going to see them go against each other 4 or 5 times in a row. And by the time it's boring. What we should do is we should see these guys, Seth Rollins, go against the Job Squad, go against guys like Fandango, go against Curtis Axel, and beat the shit out of these guys. If we did that during the weeks, it'd be great. And then when it comes up time for the pay-per-views, those matches would be much more interesting to see. And I know a lot of people would disagree with me, say, no, we want Raw, so that way, those matches, are more epic. Those matches on Raw is excellent, but when you go to the pay-per-view, what do you see? It's another pay-per-view on Sunday. It's another Raw on Sunday. That's all it really is.
I guess I'll take a take on this since I had nothing to say about Ryback. Pretty much, Rick, you pretty much said it. Curtis Axel has not been seen since Ryback's injury. And when he was medically cleared, he wasn't nowhere to be seen. And then with WWE already reporting you all these cuts, do not be surprised. And ladies and gentlemen, we have another guest here on Hardcore Wrestling Radio. Welcome, the Studley man himself, Ashley. Ash, how you doing?
Wondering why I've got to walk 500 miles.
Okay, Ash, let's catch you up. What are your thoughts about Ryback returning to Raw with possible roster cuts?
To be honest, I think it makes sense because he's the right build that Vince seems to be attracted to. And I mean that in a literally and figurative way at the same time. Because he likes guys with muscles. You could tell that ever since that World Bodybuilding Federation failed. That's why he liked the XFL, because he wanted to see all those muscle players with their helmets on.
Wait a minute, just a second. But XFL failed. Let's keep that real. It failed.
Yes, but that was his idea, seeing all these muscular men playing football. I mean, why else is Cena looking the way he does? Why else is Orton looking the way he does? Why else is Triple H looking the way he does?
So we're trying to say that Vince has a fetish
For muscular men.
Wow.
Yeah. Why else would they keep Ryback?
Well, I'd say why else would they keep Brock Lesnar?
Because he's worth money to them in terms of UFC. He's worth money to them in the other. He's trying to get. That's the thing. He's trying to get the roided people that like seeing roided people at the UFC watching his roided people. They may or may not be using roids, obviously, but yeah, some of them just look a bit off.
Ash, one more thing so we can catch up to speed. Curtis Axel has not been on TV, but he lost in a dark match, and there's also a list of roster cuts. Who do you think should be futurely endeavored? There's been names like Curtis Axel, Fandango, Zack Ryder. List goes on. So who do you think should be futurely endeavored before next year?
Well, Fandango really hasn't been the success that he was going to be under whatever gimmick that it was before he became Fandango. And the only reason that gimmick really got over was those UK fans just being desperate for attention, let's be honest. Because we haven't seen him yet in a singles match that means something. I'd be harsh and say Eric Rowan, but clearly they're building to something with that. So I'm willing to hold off on that, but he hasn't impressed me. I think legally they have to keep employing the great Khali, otherwise he'll go back to being a police officer in India. So that would be one that I probably won't go, but even looking at some of the... To be honest, Cameron is a waste of space.
Thank you.
Cameron is a waste of space on the Divas roster, so I think you should get rid of her.
There's one more we forgot to mention, Ash. There's one more.
She's a redhead.
No, she has purpose. Eva Marie has purpose.
Absolutely.
It makes the rest of the world not look so bad.
No, she's eye candy, and I have to agree with Ash.
Yeah, spank bank material.
Oh,
yeah.
Actually, you know who you can act? SoCal Val. Why is she on Total Divas? Plus, she's kind of busy anyway in whatever. And also, I'm trying to think. Who's somebody else that we haven't really seen a lot of Big E or Kofi for that matter. So
I think they're still trying to put that little group of three guys together, and they still haven't really figured out the name, or they haven't figured out whether they're going to even do it with Xavier Woods. So that's still kind of in the mix. It's in the works. It's not 100% whether they're going to kill it off yet.
And also, dare I say it, because of the way his injury status seems to be going, should we, at least in terms of wrestling terms, let go of Daniel Bryan?
And that's a good question. That's something to definitely be talked about.
Obviously, he could still be on the payroll because, he's a former talent and he basically got injured on their watch. But in terms of an on-air, active, full-time wrestler, if the prognosis isn't good, you might as well just say, put him on the equivalent of a Legends deal. When he shows up, he'll get, a sort of a bonus pay figure more than other people because of his contribution to the business, not just in WWE, but also across various different indie companies.
All right, well, let's move on from that to a little bit of Kurt Angle, gentlemen. Yes. Well, the only thing I can say is WWE has ended talks with Kurt Angle because they wanted him to do a full-time deal, and we all know he's 45 years old. He can't go no more. So looks like he'll be going back to TNA to finish his career. And not to notice that he's been on a few movies too, so that's why he hasn't been doing any ring action. So Ash, I'll go to you first. Question is, now that WWE told Angle we're not going to bring you in and he's going to end up at TNA, is this good for him at 45?
As long as he's kept on just as a sort of commissioner role, yes. If he's going to be somehow brought back in as a wrestler, no. I'm surprised WWE even wanted him on a full-time capacity, because RVD gets 90 days on, 90 days off, and he does a lot more than Kurt Angle does. And yet, somehow, he's okay with getting 90 days on, 90 days off. Just surprises me. And also, he's retiring in the wrong country. Should be retiring at New Japan like AJ Styles wants to.
Yeah, that's a good point. Rick, what do you think?
I'm inclined to agree with Ash. I think that, the WWE was being a little bit too, I don't know if it was the fact that maybe it was still a little bit of, that the WWE was like, look, you know what, you want to come back? Fine, you got to come back on our terms. And they were just giving Angle, they weren't really throwing him a bone to say, fine, you got to come back as a full-time wrestler. And it's like, maybe they didn't want him back. And maybe Angle was the one who asked to come back because he knew that, a lot of the guys were going back. Sting was leaving there. Hogan went back. And, he saw that, that was his, retirement clause. His ending, so.
Sting isn't on a full-time deal.
No, not a full-time deal, but he's on he's got to be on the Legends deal.
Hogan isn't on a full-time deal.
On a Legends deal. In any sense, I think that he was still looking, the Angle was still looking to get into the WWE, where he was going to work for the part-time or Legends deal, whichever one. He was certainly not looking to get in there for full-time. And if you look at any of the guys, like I said, RVD, Hogan, or even Sting, they were still getting there on their part-time / Legends contract, in whichever angle you want to cut it. And that was where I was going with. He certainly was not going to go there looking for a full-time, and even if he wanted it, Angle can't go full-time. He can't do it anymore. So to make that kind of a deal would just be ludicrous. So I think for him to stay with TNA, especially on the part-time deal, especially as, like you said, as a general manager role, absolutely.
Okay, and to you, Ash. Lance, sorry.
Well, the whole Angle at however old he is, 40-something?
45.
45 at full time, especially after he let's face it, he's even said it, he has a broken neck, or broke his neck, which that probably has to be one of the reasons he's slowed the hell way down, because it does take it out of you. Two, it's, I think for the money, he'd probably get more from WWE than he will from TNA, because, well, TNA ain't got that much money. Let's just face that. But 45, a history of a neck injury or two, full-time, hell no. Hell, the most he could probably do is a Lesnar deal, where he wrestles basically whenever the hell he feels like it.
Yeah, but let's face it, the multiple surgeries he has, was WWE crazy?
Yes.
Would Angle not take the deal to finish in TNA? Or, like Ash said, go to New Japan and be with, like, AJ Styles and not retire with that sinking ship? I'll just say, better off at least somewhere where he'll be appreciated, since WWE wants to do something about it. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait, no. Angle isn't a recognized IWGP champ, is he? I just realized, because Lesnar got the belt in New Japan, and Lesnar took it to Antonio Inoki's company, which isn't officially.
Okay.
Basically, how I think Angles do, one and done. One and then go in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Like Rick posted on Hardcore Wrestling Fans, fuck these part-timers. Right, Rick?
Absolutely. I have no love for part-timers. There's no real need for if the part-timers wanted to come in, like Chris Jericho would come in and give the rub off to the younger wrestlers, absolutely. But other guys, most of them, are not doing that. They're just coming in, getting their money. Some of them, like Brock Lesnar, are getting the title and pretty much taking it for a good ride for like 3 or 4 months, and it's bullshit. I have see no need or any respect for it.
Very, very well. All right. Rick, I guess you have a article about that guy from Chicago you want to bring us in?
Well, we were talking, if you're talking about CM Punk, I didn't realize I was going to be bringing it in.
Might as well.
Okay. Well, the article was about CM Punk who took his ball and went home, and it's just very simply, I think the whole article was, in short, you kind of caught me off guard here. Just my opinion, I just think that he, just kind of like is sitting in the corner and just taking basically, taking a big piss.
That's good.
Yeah. Now, I know a lot of people really think that CM Punk, have pretty much had his right to leave the WWE the way he did. The way I see it is, yeah, of course, he absolutely did have the right to leave the WWE. The one thing my beef is, you want to leave the company, leave the company. But to completely block out the rest of the wrestling world and all your fans, especially when you go on to wrestling radio shows and over to OVW, I just find that just incredibly ignorant. Now, maybe I'm right or maybe I'm wrong.
That's cool, no problem. And plus, to add on to it, there was reports saying that merchandise has been still being sold, and that there was a possible back deal between Punk and WWE. I don't know. Is Punk really back? Because all this merchandise is coming back all of a sudden. I mean, did it just magically just poof out of thin air? What do you think about that, Lance?
Well, could it be? I don't know. Because would the fans go absolutely ape shit? Yes. I almost believe I'm about, I was at like 5% this was a work. I'm probably about 15% this was a work.
Yeah, and me and Rick, we were probably the only two people at Hardcore Wrestling Radio thinking that this was pretty much him taking his toy Nerf football, going home, and his wife basically still on TV, but we don't know. What about you, Ash? What do you think about this? Punk's merchandise back in the WWE? Is there a deal we're not noticing?
Well, there's a hole into the Survivor Series, given how Randy Orton's filming Condemned 2.
Oh, shit, that is... Hey, he brought up something we didn't know.
It makes sense that's starting filming within the next few weeks, which will explain his disappearance for a while. Which is annoying, because I think clearly Orton was going to be part of Team Cena. Because obviously he's got his gripes with the administration now, because they keep pushing Golden Boy and not him.
Well,
because of that whole approach that they seem to be doing now with it's people that don't like the authority, the gossip is going to start now, especially with this merch thing coming in, basically going, is Punk coming back after a 10-month absence?
Okay, Rick, you want to add more?
Well, yeah, as far as Orton going to go do the Condemned 2, I did actually read about that earlier today. And as far as as far as Orton going off, the reason why I think they're not going to have him be on Team Cena, even though he's being flipped as a face, I think they didn't want to have him jump right onto Cena because it just would have been too soon if you ask me. Because if you think about it, at Hell in a Cell, they just had this huge fight at Hell in a Cell, and then 1 month later, they're going to be on the same team. That just doesn't seem to fit. You see what I'm saying? So for him to jump
Rock
away...
and Cena were on the same team before they fought at WrestleMania.
Yeah, but I think, even still, a lot of people didn't buy that. And I think especially if you think about it with Orton and Cena, they supposedly have this big, huge 10-year bitter rivalry. So if you look at that, it's a little bit different as opposed to Rock and Punk. My guess is that's why they did it that way. I could be wrong.
All right. And I was not going to bring this up on the show, but I said forget it. I said, why not? Since we don't give TNA a lot of love on this show, and we don't want to be chastised, I might as well. Supposedly there was supposed to be a new television deal that TNA was supposed to make with Big John Gubrick. But the boss brought to my attention that, he was not in New York City, that he was in fact in Nashville, Tennessee. And, I guess the question is, as we've been talking about it for months, Rick, is TNA going to stay on Spike? Is it going to go to those two other stations that me and Lance brought up? I mean, would they fit like a WGN, or would they fit on that Discovery Channel? I mean, isn't their contract almost up by now?
It is supposed to be almost up. TNA claims that they're going to have a new television deal supposedly by the end of the week or whatever, but it's almost the end of the week, and they have to have some quote-unquote big announcement, but, to them a big announcement could be like, I don't know, like Mike Tenay having a fart. Who knows? I don't...
Have you noticed how she keeps saying a big announcement, and it hasn't happened for the last 3 weeks?
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like bullshit to me. So,
that announcement sounds constipated.
Yeah, exactly.
That announcement needs some Docolax or something.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So, as far as which two deals they're going to get, or if it's going to be a third deal, or who knows? They might get a subscriber with YouTube. Who the fuck knows?
Hey, Rick, you brought up a good point. So, Lance, like Rick said, could TNA be on YouTube forever if they're not going to be on Spike?
Well, it is free to show your shit. So, honestly, they have one of two choices: stay on Spike, which I'm not sure either way whether that could happen, or WGN. Because this whole Discovery thing, no, that's just bad for their bottom line. Because as a higher tiered channel as Spike is, from what I've been told, I'm guessing Velocity or whatever this channel's name is higher. Because until I saw this thing about them possibly getting in, I had never heard of freaking Velocity.
All right, and finally, you asked, would TNA fit Spike on YouTube, or where do you think they'll land in 2015?
There are some reports suggesting now, apparently, that basically the deals have gone south with everybody, so they're willing to be on Spike even though it's for lower money, just because they want somewhere on television for it to be broadcast rather than nowhere. And I honestly think that bloke from Discovery Channel was there to hire up Eric Young for a second season of that fishing shark thing, whatever it was that he was doing.
Well,
and then Dixie will tweet about it and not announce it for 4 years.
Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, I do have actually some other TNA news. I don't know that. I guess TNA is also putting out in December 2 pay-per-views. One of them is going to be Victory Road, which is supposed to be a 3-hour event, which is going to be on a Friday, December 5th. And
that's going to be the last fucking original stuff they're showing this year.
Yeah, and then I guess after that, there's going to be one, which is only an hour, which is going to be unfinished business for beer money. And I don't know if it's just going to be like TNA's greatest hits. I don't know what the fuck that is. But it's not something that I would actually go out of my way and pay for. So I saw that and I just couldn't help but laughing. But this is for beer money. This is what the promo was. It says, join TNA Wrestling for a look at one of the most successful tag teams of all time. Join this action-packed hour that features three must-see matches, including their first tag team championships win. So, yeah, there it is.
You know what that is for, don't you?
Like I said, I'm guessing it's just their greatest hits TNA things that they're just going to start doing.
British market. That stuff gets shown on regular TV over here. We don't have to pay for all the pay-per-views. So the Unfinished Business has been a series that's been going on. I think the very first one that they did was Foley and Sting, like 5 years ago. And it's like that. It's that often done that I think the last one was Hardy versus Jarrett.
Oh, wow. Yeah, see, this is the first time I'd seen this, so I wasn't sure if it was something brand new. So.
Well, there might have been one with Eric Young and Magnus, I can't remember. But basically, it's just it's an hour-long thing trying to, sum up the feud between two wrestlers or about a tag team. They might have done one for the Machine Guns when they were briefly back for a bit back in 2010. But, yeah, it's basically just a highlight package of some of the best matches, because most of the DVDs aren't freely available over here for them.
All right. Well, I just got one thing to say before we end the show. If TNA doesn't even get a deal, Lance, tell our HWR fans, what is our new sponsor? Might as well let Ash on in, too.
Fuck it all.
Yes, the whole new pill, Fuck It All. It has 1,000 milligrams when your life does not seem well. And for TNA, if they don't get this deal, they might as well go somewhere else. That's right, folks. Fuck it all. You can't find it in prescription stores anywhere. Thanks to the son of a bitch.
Well, you can. It's just highly illegal and you might die.
I can't even go on. Does anybody have any more words for our articles for today? Anybody have a rebuttal for any of them?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rick.
Fuck it all.
Fuck it all.
I concur.
Well, I'm going to go back to the Curtis Axel thing.
There's a reason why you're only allowed to buy 3 paracetamol products in one sitting.
I just gotta say one more thing. If WWE is gonna make these roster cuts, do it as soon as possible. Because every time there's a Raw or a SmackDown, and we see people like Zack Ryder who are not on TV, why the fuck are you keeping them?
You know when the appropriate time to do it would be, though, won't you?
What's that?
Black Friday.
Wow.
I'm done. Alright, folks. This is just about to wrap
That's
it up.
what they dub it. It's their fault.
I think Zack Ryder needs some Fuck It All. But that's going to do it up for HWR in the news. So, what do you think about our articles? What did you think? Put them in the comments, our comment section below. Rick, tell everybody where you can find us at.
Of course, you can always find us over on our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Hardcore Wrestling Radio. And make sure you always catch a ride over on the SoundCloud. That's soundcloud.com/Hardcore Wrestling Radio.
Lance, tell us about your page at YouTube and what do you do?
I'm at youtube.com/LanceMossTV. I got album reviews, NASCAR discussion videos, redneck Armageddon videos, musical equipment reviews, and some rants. If you hadn't subscribed, why hadn't you?
Go on over there to subscribe. And we have the Studley man, Ashley. Ash, do you have any words for our fans? Anything at all?
Yeah, I'm administering the fuck it all now. The HWR pharmacy is now open!
And you guys know me. I will be on SoundCloud every Friday or Saturday to have our news at soundcloud.com/Hardcore Wrestling Radio.
Don't forget to tune in to Hardcore Wrestling Radio, because this Wednesday we will be having a special interview with Nikolai Volkov.
That's right. That's right. That's right, folks. Next Wednesday we got WWE Legend coming in the house. So pay attention to that show. So with that said, for everyone here, I'm Will saying, are you going to buy some Fuck It All? Rick, Lance, Ash, are you guys going to buy some Fuck It All?
I'm already on a 100 pill per day prescription.
Rick?
Oh, believe me, I am already going to be taking my Fuck It All.
Ash, you want a trial sample?
I don't need to. The NFL's already done it for me.
We'll see you next time on Hardcore Wrestling Radio, sponsored by Fuck It All, 1,000 milligrams.
Touchdown!
Thank you for listening to this edition of In the News. Be sure to check us out over at facebook.com/Hardcore Wrestling Radio, and also be sure to follow us over at dailymotion.com/HWR Show. And now, check us out at our new location, soundcloud.com/Hardcore Wrestling Radio. Until the next time, this is your hardcore host, Rick Head, saying we'll see you when we see you.